Carl and Liam here from Brrraaains A Head-Banging Life, gbhblofficial for short, and it's We're Afraid of the Dark, our talk through of the Are You Afraid of the Dark TV series. We are up to episode 7 of season 1. So, because there's 13 episodes, we're now at the halfway point, or passing into the halfway point of season 1.
Already?
Yeah.
Well,
Yep. There may be a lot more seasons with Are You Afraid of the Dark than Goosebumps, but there are less episodes per season. So it won't be like necessarily longer.
Yeah.
It is The Tale of the Captured Souls, directed by DJ McHale and written by Anne Appleton. So returning director DJ McHale, who, to be fair, up to this, to be mean up to this point, has not delivered at all strong episodes. However, I'm happy to say I have a lot of enjoyment about this. There's a lot of things I like about this episode, and I think the imagination is there from the writer Anne Appleton too.
Yeah, it's an improvement, we'll put it that way.
Small cast, we've got Maria King, now known as Maria Taylor, by the way, as Danny Selman. Ethan Tobman as Peter Kirkland, the third. Griffin Brewer as the old Peter. Don Jordan as Doug Selman. And Barbara Eve Harris as Sally Selman. So 3 members of the same family and 2 actors portraying 1 character. That tells you, basically, so we've got four characters.
Yeah.
And we continue with our first. It's Kiki's first story.
Ooh, it's been a lot of big talk from Kiki, so better deliver.
Yeah, we're doing the rounds, basically. But other than that, other than reoccurring actors that will appear in later episodes, there's nothing really interesting, factual about this one, I'm afraid.
Oh, I always enjoy your little trivia.
I can only take what the internet gives me, and when it's got nothing to give me, I can't do much. Okay, we begin seeing Gary being a nerd about Eric's age, detailing it in days, hours, minutes, and seconds.
Gary
Fucking
being a nerd?
nerd.
I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
They're all waiting for Kiki, who arrives taking pictures of the group with a camera. A Polaroid camera. Kiki collects their pictures. While walking over to sit down on the chair, she explains that sometimes a camera sees more than a naked eye, retelling a famous thing that in some Indian tribes hated having their pictures taken because they thought the camera would capture your soul, and maybe they were right. Yeah.
Was it just me, or was it at this point did you start thinking that maybe this episode with the camera and the capturing of souls was going to go down a slight maybe rip-off of a certain Goosebumps episode? Was that just me? Yeah.
I thought we were going to get the exact same thing. I genuinely was like, okay, yep, we're going to get. As soon as I saw a camera talking about pictures, I was like, okay, we're doing that, are we?
But then it's not really like that. I mean, it's to do with cameras, but it's not that at all, is it? So,
to be honest, man, the camera is irrelevant. It's almost completely irrelevant. It's a side prop, but it's certainly not inherent to the story.
maybe it's supposed to throw you off. I don't know.
Yeah, odd. Maybe they couldn't work out a way to utilize the bigger elements of this about life force stealing all that into an, because the Midnight Society introduction always has an element that ties into the story we're about to read. How the hell do you do that? Life stealing energy and rejuvenation.
I guess it's because behind the mirrors is the cameras, that sort of thing. But
I suppose
it's not that kind of camera. It's not like a Polaroid. And also, I also thought that the amazement that they all have towards this camera really dated the show. Like, I mean, Polaroid cameras are cool, but their amazement of a camera being able to take photos and stuff like that, yeah, it made me realize how old this show was at that point.
Yeah, because it's easy to forget, folks, that this came out years before even Goosebumps did. Although we often reference Goosebumps, this came out years before. This is early 90s, whereas Goosebumps was late 90s.
Yeah, true.
Okay, so submitted for the approval of Midnight Society. This is The Tale of the Captured Souls, and it takes place at a country hotel. The perfect hotel to spend a relaxing summer vacation on a crystal clear lake. Join us for a visit you'll never forget. That is the spiel. What we're told at the start. You know, it starts off lovely and then you get that threatening, join us for a visit you'll never forget. Take that one of two ways, people. It could be unforgettably brilliant or unforgettably horrible.
I just got to say quickly also, it kind of sucks watching these episodes knowing exactly what the twists are and stuff like that. Kind of wish I could just like forget it. I'm sure like you probably didn't even remember what this episode was about, where it was going, what the twist was. I'm kind of jealous of that.
It is 100% that. The only thing I remembered about this episode was the Peter Kirkland III looked familiar to me. Yeah. However, I reckon I'm not even familiar with the episode. I think I looked at him and thought, and I'm getting a connection between him and any child that has appeared in a Children of the Corn movie, because that's where he's ripped straight from.
Yeah, he's ripped straight. It's true.
That's it. Danny and her parents thought it sounded too good to be true, and your ad was right. It's going to be a summer vacation they would never forget. This is Kiki's introduction. That's why I'm speaking like as if she's saying. And we're introduced to the Selman family, and Danny would rather not be there. She walks to the front door, but finds it locked and no one answers. She then checks the top of the door frame to see if there's a hidden key, but she notices a small round circle-shaped mirror in the corner and somehow burns her finger touching it.
All right, then let's do it.
All right. It's locked.
Oh, well, check over the door. Maybe there's a key.
Ouch.
Well, hello.
That's our introduction.
Yeah.
Suddenly the door is answered by a young man. I actually wrote in my notes, who looks like he came from a Children of the Corn movie. Somehow that really stuck with me. It's because as well, only literally the time recording, maybe about a month and a half ago, I watched the newest reimagining of Children of the Corn. So the damn franchise is stuck in my head again.
Just won't let that die, will they?
No, they will not. Somehow it is still an ongoing franchise. He's very polite and introduces himself as Peter Kirkland III. He is very, very polite. But he is also creepy because he takes an immediate shine to Danny, calling her their lovely daughter, Danielle. And it's just a vibe. I mean, the actor is phenomenal, but he's too creepy. The writing is too creepy. The parents ignore some of words and lines he says that generally should be like, mate, what the fuck are you want? Like, you'd say to him, like, behave yourself. Don't speak like that about my daughter and shit like that.
Yeah, like I won't go too deeply into it, but I think that's probably my biggest glaring issue with this episode is how much the parents ignore. Yeah.
Oh, yes. He then shows them to their rooms, and the family are impressed by how nice the place looks. I think it looked like a dump. I think it looked like it was so out of time that it would just be uncomfortable to even stay there. There was nothing appealing about that house.
I feel like they're just trying to like lie to themselves or something because maybe they regret the decision, but what's the point now? They're already there, kind of thing.
Indeed, indeed. Peter informs them that they're in luck because there are no other guests currently staying there, so their visit should be nice and quiet. Peter then shows her parents to their room, and their room has mirrors everywhere, including, right, and I guess maybe this is adult me, there's one on the roof above the bed, and the only people who have mirrors above the bed on the roof are people who want to watch themselves boning.
Exactly. And I was thinking the same thing because the dad, he says he kind of likes the idea of the mirror above the bed, and he kind of suggestively points at the mother. Is this the first ever sex joke we've had in these shows? I think we just had one.
What's with all the mirrors?
My family's been collecting them for years. It's kind of a tradition.
They sure do like to look at themselves.
I kind of like them.
You can even shoot it from an angle where he's lying in a bed and we're seeing a reflection of him in a mirror.
They knew what they were doing, man.
Danny is naturally puzzled about all the mirrors, but Peter tells her his family has been collecting them for years as a tradition. Okay, that's a fine and dandy explanation, but warning signs, man. Seriously, warning signs.
People were really this naive back then. Come on now.
Well, it gets dumber, I think, because Danny tries to adjust one and burns her finger again. And Peter apologizes and tells her the wiring is very old. And like, no, I don't care how good of it. Wiring in the mirror, what the hell are you talking about?
Oh, come on now. Red flag, red flag.
He now shows her to her room where she'll be staying in it, but he keeps calling her Danielle, much to her annoyance. And she complains that her room is too small. And the Selman parents now, bear in mind, they've been in this house a little while, query where Peter's parents are. And he says they're away in a cruise. He murdered them. He fucking murdered them This is the like warning signs before alarms going off. What do you mean they're away in the cruise and left him in charge? I know he's a teenager, but he's still what? But he just go, all right.
I don't know. Just words escape me for the naivety.
Yeah, because Danny asks him, "What? You're here alone?" And then he says, in the creepiest way possible, "Not anymore."
Yeah, it
Too
does
much.
take me out of it. Takes me out a little bit. Yeah.
And when he leaves, they talk amongst themselves and basically go, "Oh, he's a little strange." I was like, "Strange? You're going to get butchered in your bed tonight. I'm locking my bedroom door. I'm putting a chair underneath the goddamn handle."
I just like they build it up as some sort of thing where the dad, especially, like kind of feels like he feels sorry for Pete and like wants to take him under his wing, and he's just like some
Yep.
lonely, weird kid. And I can kind of almost buy into that a little bit when he, the next scene coming up where they try and play baseball and stuff like that. But yeah,
The way to do that is to not have him be creepy, is to have him be goofy, a goofball, fall over a lot, clumsy, kind of like, and get embarrassed and things like that.
feels like I don't want to go into spoilers of what it leads to, but you think maybe with what he's doing, maybe the rejuvenation that takes place, maybe that makes him less creepy, Like when he's rejuvenated, he's actually more normal looking, and it's like when he needs to feed, that's when he becomes a bit more ghoulish looking. But it's good that he looks like that, even though I know he's supposed to be old and blah blah blah. Spoiler. But
Yeah.
yeah, maybe they could have done it that way instead. But anyway.
No, it's interesting. It is interesting. So the next day, Danny and her dad are basically playing catch with a baseball. Peter is watching, and Mr. Selman, as you said, invites him to play. But Peter fucking sucks at throwing a baseball. It's not playing a baseball, it's throwing a baseball, and he sucks at that. And Danny, who is the only one who has bad vibes about Peter, doesn't want to be involved. But as you said already, the father's almost feels sorry for Peter and wants him to get involved. And he goes to get a ball he threw away. Mrs. Selman arrives to take a picture, but this causes Peter to freak out and hide his face. When they check in, he says he's fine, and he offers to take a picture of them. So basically, like, that's the kind of hints we get towards camera stuff. But that's about it now. Again, that's about it. It's going to be used one more time, but it's not integral to the story as we said at the start.
It's true. Yeah.
Here you are.
Well, maybe not.
Okay. Smile, everybody.
No!
Pete!
You okay?
What's wrong?
Nothing. Nothing at all.
And in the dumbest, most oblivious moment of the entire episode, it's a Polaroid picture. Peter looks at it and laughs in the most sinister way. The family are all of 3 feet away and don't notice, don't go, the fuck's wrong with him? Don't ask about the picture, bear in mind, because most people after someone's taken a picture would go, how did it come out? Can I have a look at it? But they don't notice any of this, but it's like, they're like 3 feet away.
I know, like, you somehow could see it from their perspective, him just standing only about 3 feet away, like you said. He turns away, there's a creepy laugh while looking at the photo. Like, what are they thinking?
Yeah. So back in the house, Danny finds a baseball on the floor coming in from the door. She opens the door and finds the twisting staircase leading to an upstairs bedroom. Upstairs in that room, the room is almost out of time, quite old-fashioned with black and white pictures on a dresser. Peter arrives via a side door and reveals that it's his room. He explains to her that he lives here all by himself, so he gets to do whatever he wants, whenever he wants, claiming it's like a dream come true. He is, again, super creepy here. But then he starts to admire her physical strength and she starts to do pull-ups. And again, it's too much for me.
Yeah, it's a bit much, I agree.
Looking at a picture, Danny asks Peter if it's him, as the boy in the picture looks like him, but it can't be because the year is 1920. And he says it's a picture of his grandfather. He just happens to look very much like him. And I was a bit like, wait, did we kind of do this a few episodes ago? We kind of did.
That's true.
Danny didn't know it was some sort of machine with flowers hooked up to it, and Peter tells he's conducting an experiment with roses. The experiment was started by his grandfather and his transference of energy fields. Danny complains the roses are dying and goes to switch it off, but this annoys Peter, who stops her. He then gets up close to her face and reveals she has a big pimple, and she runs off to look in the mirror, grossed out by what she sees. There's a lot of information here. I will say, I think the whole energy fields, life force thing we're about to delve into is unnecessarily confusing and will probably confuse a younger viewer. I found it a little bit like, wait, what? Because I still don't fully understand how he's able to do this.
They don't really explain, do they?
It's an experiment. My grandfather designed it years ago. It's a transference of energy fields.
But you're killing the roses.
The geraniums are doing very well. It's natural selection with a little help. Don't! Ruin it!
Okay, sorry. What are you doing?
Nothing. Really.
What? Don't be such a dweeb.
Well, it's just... Well... I think you're breaking out.
When she's gone, Peter opens a circle-like metal cover on the side of the counter and presses a red button. And this causes his room to transform into a lab. It is so advanced. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I thought the transformation scene in his room, like he's Batman or something, was actually pretty cool. And they play this sort of sinister Phantom of the Opera type music over it. I thought it was a fun scene.
Yeah. I just feel like I would, if you're in that house in any room, you would just hear this noise, this grinding of gears and noise, and be like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, and you'd hear him like laughing and everything, like through the floorboards. Like it could be a horror comedy. Like it's so silly.
The most notable part of this lab, we should say, are the cameras, which we now see he has in the mirrors to watch the family. I think we all guessed that with the electric shocks. And a couple of tubes with liquid in it that has people symbols on them. We have a man, a child, and a woman symbol. And the camera images change color to reflect the color of the liquid in each tube. So best guesses is that the cameras have the ability to steal life force through them. That's the best I can do.
Oh, you got that straight away from that.
Yeah.
That's what you were doing. Yeah, because I thought like at this point it did become fairly obvious what was going on. So it's not like
the color coding was a big clue for me.
Normally they would leave it a little bit ambiguous for some kind of twist type of thing, but it just seemed like you're kind of giving it away right now a bit.
Yeah, it seemed to me by doing color coding, showing the tubes, you're saying the camera's still alive forces. They go into the individual tubes per person, because we also then see a fourth one, which is a different color completely, which you're like, okay, well that must be Peter, because we also then see him. Another part of the room has a giant like tank in it. And when Peter gets in it, we cut to Mr. Selman, who notices the hands on his watch are speeding around at an alarming rate. We cut back to the chamber booth, and we see Peter through the glass laughing evilly. That at least I thought was funny. Felt very, Frankenstein, that kind of thing.
I don't know, like I thought the guy playing Pete was good, but then I thought in this moment it kind of veered into like cheesy territory. For me, he's trying really hard to come across as like sinister and creepy, and it kind of became a bit goofy at this point. Also, what the hell did the dad think about his watch spinning like that? Like, okay, they're losing their life force is making them age and get old and tired, but you can still see his watch spinning, right? Like, what does he think is going on there?
Yeah. Likewise, when he looks in the mirror after and notices a sideburn has suddenly gotten grey, you don't turn grey like instantly, Guy. I'm not saying you should freak out about it, but the combination of that. I mean, yeah, like you said, if I had watched it, I'm not going to think, my life force is being sucked and I'm moving forward in time. Must be the creepy kid that's looking after us here. You know what I mean? I'm likely to think my watch is broken or that's weird, but like, I don't know what I'd think.
I mean, I guess he kind of does think that's weird and doesn't just kind of goes about his day. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, because we do then see, just to add the clarity to what's going on, we see the tube fluid reduce but increase in the one at the end, making clear that Peter's sucking the life force from the family, presumably through the mirrors. And then we cut, you know what, I didn't even write any particular notes about it. We cut back to the Midnight Society discussing the story up to this point. That's all it is. Just, they're talking back and forth about it for about a minute.
Unnecessary.
unnecessary completely. So the next day, Mr. Selman, Danny, and Peter are playing baseball. And now we see Peter is full of life, whereas Mr. Selman is tired and looking old. And it's the same for Mrs. Selman. She looks notably grayer and can't seem to stay awake. She's too tired to do anything with Danny and points out that Danny has more spots. Now, we're about to veer into a very unexpected territory and remind me the age this might have been aimed at, because I didn't pick up on something here until it's now pointed out to me. As Danny runs off in a hurry to go look at herself in the mirror, noticing she's got more spots. But she also looks down her top and notices that her breasts are getting bigger. Basically, she's entered puberty.
I mean, I got the puberty thing, but I didn't know.
Yeah, she does this. She goes,
oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that is, and I was, it was a reminder that this is aimed at an older audience.
Yeah,
But I thought,
well, it tells you the demographic they're going for, that can like relate to what she's going through, kind of thing.
but yeah, it was, and it hit me. I was like, oh shit, they're referencing the fact that she's now gone through puberty quicker than she initially would have expected. The spots, the body changes, yeah. When she leans against the wall, she burns a hand touching the edge of a mirror. And angry by that, she slams the cupboard door, which I liked as well, because you might be like, fuck, oh, I'm annoyed by this slam. But she smashes the mirror, revealing a camera and the wiring, which has been burning her. So basically, Peter could have gotten away with all of this if he just took the time to rewire things correctly.
Yeah, that's true. Guess he's not I mean, I don't know, he's supposed to clearly some kind of engineer or something. But also, camera in the bathroom, bit questionable.
It is, which then means her father's reaction to it is annoying as fuck, because she freaks out, tells her dad to come and look, and he dismisses it. And I was like, you know what, man? I know you're trying to do the whole thing, they're tired and all that, but no. Listen, I could have been awake for 48 hours and be fucked to my feet. But if you come to me and say, listen, the Airbnb we're staying at, the hotel we're staying at has a camera in the mirror, I'm not going to be like, yeah, I'm too tired to deal with that. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah, that's why the whole like the aging thing felt a bit confusing to me. I don't know if you've seen the M. Night Shyamalan movie Old. It's kind of,
I haven't seen it, but I watched like lengthy reviews of people talking about it.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to go into a deep review of the movie or anything, but I'm just saying it reminded me of the aging part of like that, where the people, like the parents in that, are clearly like maybe 40-ish, but when they start to age, like in this episode, it seems they go from like being 40 to now suddenly they're like really old, like ridiculously old, like quite quickly. And whereas the younger people, like the daughter, she's only aging like really slowly by comparison, like in terms of like she's just, I don't know how old she was when she got there, maybe like 12 or something, and now she's like what's 14, 15, whereas the parents who are maybe in their 40s, suddenly they're acting like 70-year-olds, and it's kind of like, why is it affecting them that way and not her? That's just what I was thinking.
I have a really good answer. I think the episode explains it really, really well. And I went back, and I actually went back for the first time ever to check if I had imagined this or not. So, her parents are vain. Throughout the early portion of the episode, we see them in mirrors more than any other point. In fact, we actually see Danny try to avoid the mirrors a lot of the times, whereas we often see Mr. Selman and Mrs. Selman looking at themselves in mirrors. It's why we get the shot. We also, they have a mirror above their bed while they sleep. Danny doesn't.
Yeah, I just completely remembered the mirror above the bed. So you probably
they're getting hammered by it, basically.
That's true. That's true.
So yeah, Danny throws a glass of water into the broken mirror, causing it to spark. And this seems to cause an issue for Peter in his tank as he emerges in smoke, coughing, and with his hair hilariously standing on end, looking like that. I think this is where they make it clear that somehow the cameras are related to him being able to. I don't know how, like, never explanation as you said about the technology, but it just is this.
Yep.
Sometime after, Danny is walking in the woods nearby the house. Apparently, she just decided to go for a walk after discovering her camera. Yeah. She finds a small graveyard, and she finds that one of the gravestones reads Peter Curlin III, 1907, but with no date of the death. Dun, dun, dun! Yeah. Things get more sinister, though. She notices nearby black silhouette markers that are shaped like a man, a woman, a child, and a dog, and each with an amount on them. And I was like, wow, that's kind of creepy. Ruined by Danny going, oh, I wonder what they are. And I was like, seriously, you know what? You deserve to die. If this is, you can't put everything together to at least not necessarily think he's stealing a life force, but to think something fucking weird is going on, you deserve to be killed.
Yeah, and there's a moment at the very end. I'm gonna go into a mini rant on regarding Danny and whether or not she deserves to die. But I'll go into that when we get to it.
Well, apparently we got a major part of the script cut out in a moment, because back in the house, while wearing gloves, Danny begins taking our mirrors. Her mum asks her what she's doing and then looks in the mirror to see that she's aged. And basically, we now see that Danny has somehow figured out that mirrors are making him age. Didn't want to tell me how that happened.
I mean, it's true. Like, she sees the cameras. She doesn't just assume that he's just, like, for some reason spying on them. But that's a massive, exactly. I mean, it's just like a massive leap.
That's what I would think. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a leap to be like, now she's figured it all out.
Yeah, and we know she's figured it out because she tries to stop her mother from looking in the mirror as her father arrives. They're both annoyed about behavior, but are so exhausted they end up lying down on the bed to go to sleep. Danny goes upstairs to Peter's room looking for him. He's not there, but ends up finding the button that turns into a lab, and she pushes it and stares in wonder at what she sees. Then on the security camera screen, she sees an elderly man serving her parents' tea in the drawing room, and he's wearing the same clothes as Peter. She turns the room back and heads downstairs to see what it is, but when she gets down there, the old man is gone, and now it's just Peter. So, you know, that's kind of cool. I like that, and so on. It just raises a major question again for me. She goes from her parents who are lying down in bed upstairs, and everything happens in the space of a minute, less than a minute, pushing the button, all that. In that same period of time, her parents went back downstairs, sat down with Peter or old Peter to have some tea. Really?
Yeah, no, that's true. It's quite a lot to happen in a small amount of time.
Little goon's got hidden cameras. Who's that?
Danny goes back to examine the black silhouette markers and now realizes they represent people who visit the hotel over the years, with the count being 21 men, 15 women, 34 kids, and even 10 dogs. Sure, that's why not? Why that jump? Yeah. Peter approaches her and tells her that she's discovered the little plot. He claims that she figured out his mirror plan. I'm like, did she? When? Did I miss that?
Maybe she was thinking she'll act like she's figured it out, and then he'll come and reveal his master plan, and it's worked out.
It's that whole thing. I figured out your plan, but you know what? I don't think you've realized I figured it. So why didn't you explain it to me?
I think that's it. She's a genius.
Peter then tells her after tonight she'll be alone just like him, but he offers her to be friends with him and stay with him in the house. Peter claims it's too late to save her parents because they've aged too much now and have entered the final phase. But she then takes his picture on a Polaroid camera that she apparently just had, and he runs off when the flash temporarily blinds him. Yeah, that's it.
They tied in the Polaroid. There you go.
Danny runs back to her house, to her parents' room, and they're now in bed. She tries to convince them that the mirrors are making them old, but of course they don't believe her. Danny carefully covers her hand with a cloth and grabs the mirror. She then goes up to Peter's room with it, which is in lab mode. So apparently Peter, even though he's aware that Danny knows everything and can stop his plan, because he's already told her tonight, not now, has just gone back to his lab and gone into a mid-energy transition. He got into the tank and is just carrying on as if she can't do anything. And I'm like, why would you do that now? Even if you believe she can't stop her and you're that arrogant, she could smash your tank. She could smash it. She could do a lot of damage to your lab. Why would you just let her do it?
Not a clue.
Danny barges in his session and flips some buttons on the panel. Peter jumps out of the booth tube and tells her to get away, but she now holds out the mirror at him and he covers his face with his hands. Danny tells her that she knows what he's been doing. Peter's been stealing visitor souls to help him stay young. I thought we'd already established you knew this.
Just reconfirming it, just to be sure.
Also, they don't fully explain what the mirrors are doing to Peter. So I have harbored a guess, and it's simple as this. Peter sees himself in a mirror. He sees himself as he actually is, an old man.
Just like the whole Dorian Gray type deal.
Yes, but no, not as interesting. Peter tries to convince her not to be foolish because he's offering her eternal youth, and Danny manages to back him into the tank and lock him inside. She then turns the main switch all the way to minus, telling him he's messed with the wrong girl and not to call her Danielle. And the machine runs in reverse, overloading and smoking. And I was like, why would you have that built into your machine? Why would you have that option there?
That's what he'll be asking himself every night after this incident.
Well, you messed with the wrong girl, Petey boy.
Danielle, no!
And don't call me Danielle.
Danny goes to check on her parents, and they're now fine. And it's the same for Danny, whose skin is cleared up. And her parents agree to leave the hotel, and the next morning they pack up the car and prepare to leave. I didn't get that. I was like, why are they suddenly just like, yeah, we'll go now. It's fine.
Yeah,
they don't know anything was wrong.
Yeah, so what do they think they've been doing then?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they just seems like they've just got complete amnesia about the whole thing, and also, like you said, is the how they obviously planned on going in for a certain amount of time. Is that a time like they've been there long enough now? That's why they're leaving, or what? I don't know.
But also, they don't go to the next day, from what I can understand as well, the way it's cut. So nobody wanted to go check on Peter. Hey, where's Peter? I haven't seen him all day. Is he all right, reckon?
Yeah, that's also it makes you they went to sleep. She went let Danny go to sleep that night, or what? It's, yeah, odd.
Yeah, could you have slept? I don't know if I'd been sleeping that night.
Yeah, with him like up there, probably wanting severe revenge upon you while you're sleeping. I don't know.
Yeah, because it's implied as well with the next scene that she didn't actually see him until now, because we then see the elderly old man that is Peter calling her from the front door. And he says goodbye to her. And in an about turn of what I think is a really horrible last sort of scene, tells that he's going out back soon to join with his family because it's been too long and to enjoy her youth while she still can. And I was like, that is super dark. He's basically going like, yeah, I'm going to die and I'm going out to join my family. Okay.
Yeah, but also, who's to say he's not talking complete rubbish to you, so you'll go, leave him alone, and then as soon as you're gone, he'll fix his machine again.
Goodbye, Danny. I'm going out back now to join my family. It's been far too long. Enjoy your youth while you can.
Yeah.
Like
Danny's...
again, that just like emphasizes how everyone in that family is a naive moron. And this is kind of my little rant, like I said, about
Go for it.
Danny, the character. Just she refers to him as being now, oh, he's just a sad old man, and it's like, what? This guy, he's killed dozens of people, including kids and animals, and he would have killed you and your parents. And then she decides she's never going to say a single word about it. I understand it'd be hard to prove maybe, but there's like graves and stuff. I don't know, but and yeah, what makes her think he won't just fix the machine and start it all up again? Like, how many more victims are there going to be? I was not a fan of this ending.
It is very much like she's just making a lot of presumptions here and stuff like that. You are right. Ultimately, when you put everything together, it's like this person is hugely dangerous.
Yeah, it's almost like it's trying to garner like sympathy for us for Peter. You're supposed to feel bad. Oh, he's this old man, like you said. Oh, he's just going to go and die. Like, he's committed some pretty serious shit here, man.
It is a confusing ending, and that's kind of how we end, because Danny's mother finds a picture in the grass which actually shows Peter's true form in it. So that's the camera hint back to the actual start thing there, which we kind of already guessed. And that's where Danny says it just looks like some sad old man. Here's the thing, though. I thoroughly enjoyed this episode because my favorite kind of episodes are, or like things are that I get some feeling from it. even if I'm sitting there going, what the fuck is that? I'm outraged, or I'm like, that is so stupid, or it's so dumb. It's better than me sitting there going, yeah, it's all right. And we've had that way too much with this show. So to have something here that's so outlandish, quite imaginative, very silly at times, so stupid a lot of the times, that I come away going, I enjoyed that.
Yeah. I think our favorite episodes are always the ones that have that certain element of weirdness to them, that they're memorable, you know, like you said, rather than being boring and you're sitting there like some of the previous ones. Whereas like this is just kind of too straightforward. They're not doing anything very interesting. Like had the one with the super specs previously, like you said, it's interesting, it's creativity there. And this does feel like it had creativity, which is good. Yeah.
And obviously back at the Midnight Society, Kiki tells her friends that sometimes pictures do tell the truth, whether you like it or not, and she has one shot left in her camera. So she places it down and runs over, and you all have a picture taken together, which I thought was a nice touch.
Yeah, that's sweet, yeah.
Yeah, so that's episode 7, The Tale of the Captured Souls. I think we pretty much said everything we want to say about that one. Yeah.
Pretty much. I liked it.
Yeah, I liked it too. You got any thoughts on it? You know what to do. Let us know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like to see more content like this, please consider hitting the subscribe button. It is gratefully appreciated. You can find us over at gbhbl.com, our full website where reviews, news and so much more goes up daily. We're also on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, at gbhbl. Just search for gbhbl and you will find us out there. We also have merchandise on sale. You can access the shop via the website.